Hey guys, this is Breaker, and I'm back with another replay that I took from Cast It. And this is one of 3 replays that forsakeNXE actually uploaded to Cast It. In the upper left-hand corner, spawning is our red Terran. It is forsakeNXE. Lower right-hand corner, spawning is our blue Zerg. His name is Farendon. Got plenty of fill-in time to give, so I'll go ahead and say that this is actually my second time around casting this replay. Unfortunately, the first time I tried casting it, I encountered some kind of a technical hiccup, and my computer ended up shutting down on me, and I don't know what it was all about. But anywho, we're going to get straight back into this replay without any further delay in the action. And there was something that came to mind that I just, it totally... Jeez, it kind of slipped my mind. Oh, yes, there we go. The Invictus Gaming versus NoN exhibition matches that that are going to be taking place in the next day or two. I'm going to actually be casting those matches in English, I think. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. I was able to cast the NoN versus Team Japan show matches. That was pretty good fun. Unfortunately, the end score was 0-5, and NoN won it all without Team Japan even winning a single game. For some strange reason, we actually ended up playing that one on the North American server. I don't know why. But already it looks like we have Farendon throwing out a drone scout. Neither play taking gas just yet, so we're not going to see any kind of early aggressive play or early aggressive scouts. No Reapers, no Speedlings, nothing like that. Speedlings you don't typically see on one base in TVZ, but you know, I've seen some pretty strange things happening on the Korean server with some of the leagues that I've casted before, but not to any real blame. Natural already going down for Farendon. And the spawning pool should be following shortly, but wait. Okay, wait. Is it gonna go down? Oh, wait a minute. He's just pulling a drone right there for now, and I'm wondering what this is all about. Okay, he's sending it to the natural. But at the same time, Farendon gets away with the knowledge that his opponent is going for a double command center opener, following it up with a short barracks, and maybe, yep, there it is. He's actually throwing down a refinery. So, there we go. Game unfolds as the story has been told, and we're going to have basically some kind of a Hellion opener. If not, you know, I wouldn't see why he would do Mass Reaper, but of course, it's going to be more than likely Hellions. Spawning pool goes down after we have a third going down for Farendon. So he's going triple hatch, no gas. Ballsy play, ballsy play. Nothing wrong with that. But is our SCV here actually going to scout that? Natural's finished up in quite a timely manner, but there's no queen in production on it just yet. So that means that once that SCV hits this area, it's going to see that the hatchery is not shaking wildly like it should be. But does forsakeNXE run that through his mind and process it thoroughly? In fact, he should know that this is a bit of a late spawning pool coming from his opponent. Maybe, actually no, a somewhat timely spawning pool, because once you stop and think about it, 2 queens cost about as much. Oh wait, no, that's hard to say. Jeez, math is screwed up in my head. I'm gonna have to go through a replay where someone actually goes with a double hatch and follows it up with either 2 queens or 4 queens to actually get that properly calculated. Okay, so double mules at the natural. Marine cranking away at those rocks. Nothing too terribly special happening. Oh, and there's one little detail about the NoN versus Invictus Gaming show matches that you guys should know. Do not get confused, although we do have, former Gamania Sen playing for Invictus Gaming. He has not joined Invictus Gaming. He has not approached Invictus Gaming about having an open position on their team or anything else of that nature. I have the coach Invictus Gaming Edison on my Skype, and he informed me of this. He actually confirmed this for me. In fact, I even asked him if there was an open spot on Invictus Gaming, and he said no. Okay, so third command center after we have, well, basically a Hellion cranker going down. And this could produce anywhere from 4 to 6 Hellions, and it looks like there's a tech lab following up shortly afterwards, so that means we're going to be seeing Stim Pack going down pretty soon. Farendon's just working frantically to get that drone count up. Right now at 35 to his opponent's 29. Checking the income right now, not too terribly relevant. Because of course if a Zerg properly macros, then he'll be able to outdo his Terran opponent, but the Hellions, when they come out on the map, they're essentially going to force units from our Zerg, and that means larvae that can't be spent on drones anymore. The 2 Lings coming across them already, getting roasted. Queen spreading creep like mad women. And now, second extractor in the main is good to go. And the 2 Hellions reach home base, and they can already see that there's a third here, and that's not going to help our Terran player out too much. The question is, does Forsaken know just how long that third was there for? I can't really tell. I mean, he can probably tell by, say, perhaps the creep spread, the fact that it's not already in construction, that it's been there ever since he sent his SCV out to scout, and now double engineering bay and stim pack on the way, signaling that we have a definitive bio play coming in. A second barracks being and a third barracks following up. No starport to speak of just yet. Double refineries going down at the natural. Hellions kind of catching themselves in combat with these Lings. Speed not quite ready to go, but it will be relatively soon, and those Hellions will be almost a non-existent threat. +1/+1 getting started, as well as lair tech for our Zerg. And this looks like it's going to have the smooth orientation of a good macro game. Ooh, 1 or 2 of those Hellions get caught out in the open. The Lings kind of pulling back home, not wanting to get too terribly barbecued. The third orbital command already going down at somewhat dangerous timing. Bunker going down behind the mineral line as well. It's going to make for a very beautiful sim city and create a position where basically Lings are going to have to go all over the place to actually get hits in on those. And the Lings come over here. I guess they're trying to scout for a third over here, perhaps? It's just a little bit difficult to say. Well, they're going to try and slip into the natural and just see what our Terran is teching up to, and there it is. He is now thoroughly aware that his opponent's going with bioplay. He sees all of it, except for the third. I think that couldn't have been a more cruddy timing from our Zerg. He's already getting centrifugal hooks now that his lair tech is ready to go, and that means Baneling speed. 2 more hatches coming from our Zerg, however, one being a macro hatch and the other one actually being arguably a macro hatch. It's actually there and ready to go for what is it? Surplus mineral income, or when the main goes dry at the 18-minute mark. See, now we're already, 20 minutes is typically when the main goes entirely dry. So that 4th base, once it's finished here in about 40 more seconds in game time, he'll be able to conveniently pull the drones off of his main and transfer them to that 4th base. If not, maybe get a 5th base and then transfer all the drones from the main to that one. It's entirely possible to, I think, maybe get a 4th base fully saturated, but even that is playing super greedy. Now we have the 5th refinery on the way for our Terran, and it's just a little bit difficult to tell what specifically he is going for. Medevac's now making it into the mix. Combat shields, stim done, I think +1. Yes, +1/+1 for armor and attack, and I'm thinking this could lead to maybe some kind of, could it be a timing? Oh, but this is a good timing. He actually catches all these Banelings morphing out in the middle of the map. It's alright, centrifugal hooks is ready to go. That means the Zerglings, or the Banelings, gonna get away aptly, but there's not enough Zerglings to just absolutely surround everything here. It doesn't matter. Farendon gets some pretty good connections on the ground, but a majority of the bio survives and lives. And is the spread here going to be adequate enough? Who knows? There's actually enough Widow Mines to hold here for our for our Terran. Oh, and this, if he gets, oh, the Banelings, they're trying so desperately to make connections. Ling's coming in for reinforcements. Oh, but the Banelings, they just got crumbs compared to what they should have gotten. I don't know, I mean, a little bit more micro and that could have helped out, but now we've got just an absolute swarm of Lings and Banelings. I think on this map, yes, I've seen Sen do this kind of style before. He actually never even threw down a Spire, but of course that's not the intentions of our Zerg here, who's now marching across the map with Banelings and getting ready to integrate some Mutas into the mix. The Widow Mines actually go way past those Zerglings. It looks like the Banelings are going to get pulled in a really bad direction. Excellent Widow Mine hits, but just laziness from our Zerg player. And now forsakeNXE is pulling back home, realizing, okay, that was kind of good. That was kind of good. But Farendon making a big mistake, not pulling an Overseer into the mix for those Lings. And there we go. He's finally morphing one right here, right now. I don't think he has entirely a firm grip on just where those Widow Mines are. And a medevac drop is actually getting ready to gear up and go out maybe to the natural, if not the main of our Zerg, or simply wait on standby for its opportunity to strike while the main army has moved out. And the Lings all past that medevac. That's when we see our Terran forsakeNXE hit the afterburners on that. Looks like there was a bit of a skirmish here that I just barely missed, and a beautiful-ish surround going to come in relatively soon, and the Baneling hits are insane. Medevac drop number 1 actually hits the 4th base over here for our Terran. Units unload there, see that there's nothing to attack, and simply load back into the medevac. Ling's trying desperately to poke away at that bunker, but there's just not enough room for them to get an adequate surround. Medevac drop into the natural. 3 Lings trying to go to town on a Queen. Well, they get it! Oh! 5 HP Queen, still alive. And now look at this. Drop goes down yet again at the 3rd. Queen clicks down that, the Queen clicks down that medevac and then concentrates on the Marines on the ground. Gets away with 2 kills, if I'm not mistaken. 4 altogether, excuse me. And now Farendon is kind of playing a little bit from behind. He's got a macro hatch, but he doesn't have secured income for when that 4th base, for when that main base goes dry here in the next 5 minutes. And oh boy, this isn't good. I mean, Farendon, he doesn't have any detection here. He's going up against someone who's got a higher army supply than himself. Albeit a good deal of it is medevacs, but the Widow Mines and the spreads here. Oh, I just don't know what to say. Forsaken just seems to be taking this game 1 engagement at a time. Baneling's making okay connections, but the Widow Mines not so much just yet. Cut off reinforcements, all caused by these Widow Mines. And now Forsaken is just continuing to pump out and pump out and pump out even more reinforcements. And speaking of pumping stuff out, oh man, he's coming in for another cancel on that 4th base. And this is really, I think, hurting Farendon so much. forsakeNXE is now going to take down that 4th. And I don't know if it's going to get a cancel or not. No cancel whatsoever. Scan goes down on the creep to clear away the tumors, denying vision of that area again. And the Lings trying to kite a few Widow Mines here. And the Lings and Banelings making their way into the mineral line at the 3rd. That's not going to stop forsakeNXE though, excuse me. Look at this. I mean, he's just a madman. He's unstoppable in this game. And he's got his 4th base on the way while our Zerg should already have one established. He's way ahead in this matchup already. It could also be a slight macro mistake from our Zerg. As you can see, the injects, the Queens, are actually floating so much in the way of energy. Excuse me, sorry about that misclick. The 3rd, oh man, it's going to get harassed so bad. And the Lings are just having so much trouble dealing with that drop. But the Banelings come in and make up for that. However, little contingent of Marines is going to move out here to the 6 o'clock position and try and see what they can do to harass a potential 4th base. But forsakeNXE is not quite aware of the fact that there is no 4th base. He just now scans it, sees there's only creep, and that's it. Farendon right now, he's floating a little bit in the way of cash. He could actually potentially throw that away, but now he's got mutas on the way. He should have had those out so much sooner. They're so much stronger for harass potential, and they shut down drops sooner or later. The Ignite Afterburners ability only helps so much, and now Farendon is just kind of throwing away some Lings here, almost irregardless of what his opponent is doing. The Baneling's trying to make connections, but not quite working out. There's no Overseer in the mix to help detect these. And Farendon is now significantly behind in the way of army supply. If we just check it right now, it's 34 to 86 and counting for forsakeNXE. Moving out with a small stimmed up contingent of Marines. And the mutas here alone will not be enough to deal with that, especially with Marines that have +3 attack and +3 armor almost finished. Mutas that only have +1 attack. Scan goes down on creep. Farendon is looking like he's about to get knocked out of this game. I mean, so many Overseers were morphed earlier, but taken down. That's detection. That's not just detection, that's actually supply. And now the Muta's trying desperately to take down whoever they can, but there's no detection in this game for Farendon, and yet again, that is the reason why we see him slowly losing these engagements. Widow Mines advancing in position along with more and more Marines, but of course forsakeNXE isn't going to go ahead and throw away all of his potential at once. He's playing this as safely as he possibly can. For whatever reason, Widowmine's getting caught out in the open, however. That's a bit of a blunder from forsakeNXE. And for the time being, we see Farendon pulling back, waiting for that +3/+3 to kick in. But I mean, the army supply, he just doesn't have the match. He doesn't have the army supply to match his opponent. He's ahead altogether by about 60 supply. The third is almost Forsaken right now, as we see him moving in, stimming, A-moving, trying to take down whatever his opponent has. That is extremely valuable at this point. No surround, not a full surround, but it looks like Farendon will be able to deal with this. A bunch of burrow drones over here. And now the medevacs are forced to pull back with Ignite Afterburner. That's going to keep them away from the mutas, but there's so much in the way of reinforcements that are coming in the near future. Just look at this bio-mine ball back at home. Farendon so behind and not entirely aware of it. Maybe aware of it, but simply not able to do anything about it. Baneling's morphing desperately back home. +3 attack now on the way for our mutas, and that's going to make them just a little bit stronger versus this bio-mine ball. He says, very nice warm-up, XD. And I guess this is in reference to Polt playing against an American Zerg at MLG Summer Arena, I think. MLG did call it a warm-up game. That was actually the funny part about it. Ooh, nice surround coming in here from the Lings, but it kind of falls through. The netting doesn't quite work out. Splits on the Marines seem decent for the time being. And it looks like Farendon just says GG with a smiley. And with that, we see forsakeNXE victorious. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Breaker. If you like what you see here today, just go and click on that subscribe button. I'll be here all week.